Evan Chen is a junior at the Wharton School and co-president of Penn International Business Volunteers, a nonprofit student-run organization that uses business skills to benefit those in need throughout the world. Run from the University of Pennsylvania campus in Philadelphia, PIB V sends students to serve as consultants to nonprofits and NGOs in developing countries. Hi, Evan. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Diane.
So how did you get involved in PIB V?
Okay, so I went to high school in the Philippines, and I came to Penn freshman year, and I was checking out different clubs where I could get involved with, I guess, the nonprofit sector, because in high school I was part of our debate team, and we talked a lot about the different issues which people faced, and I came into college thinking that I'd actually want to do something and stop just arguing. So that's how I find out about PIBV online, through the websites at Penn.
Tell me a little bit about the organization, what it does exactly.
So PIBV stands for Penn International Business Volunteers, and what we do is over the semester and over the school year, we set up summer international consulting trips to nonprofits and NGOs abroad. So during the semester, we would find nonprofits which are, I guess, early to medium stage in their development and growth, where they would benefit from having students from different backgrounds coming in and doing a consulting project for them. Our consulting projects are usually business plans, marketing plans, and this past summer I did a basic impact assessment study for the NGO that I was working with.
So tell us a little bit more about that. Where did you travel to this summer?
So this summer we went to Mexico, and we worked with a foundation called Fundación Ciudad de la Alegría, which means City of Joy Foundation in Spanish. And what they were a very interesting nonprofit because their direct beneficiaries were other nonprofits. And they helped these nonprofits by giving them infrastructure and utilities and security in a compound, so that these nonprofits can focus on running their programs better. So we were called to go in to them and do an operational audit. So basically that means looking at what they were doing well and what they could improve on. And we did this through interviews with the staff, the beneficiary NGOs. And then we also did some research online through, I guess, articles and scholarly journals about best practices for nonprofit management.
Can you give some other examples of how you've used business to help some NGOs in other countries?
Okay, so another example, and something I guess that really caught my attention freshman year coming in, was a microfinance trip that PIBV did a few years ago before I came to Penn. And what they did there was they just ran surveys and helped the microfinance institution, I guess, look at what kinds of products they could give out to the people they were helping. So what kinds of loan packages would most help these women entrepreneurs who would use this money to start their own businesses.
So why do you volunteer your time this way? What made you decide to do this?
Okay, I think the biggest decision that leads me to volunteer, or the biggest factor, is the fact that I feel like I've been given so much, and it's not something that I necessarily deserve. So it's just a mixture of, I guess, luck, hard work, where I was born, and just the different opportunities that I received. And I feel like volunteering is the best way for me to give back using these opportunities, use the opportunities that I have going to school in the U.S. and just being at Penn, for example, just using that opportunity to use the skills I learned in class to give back to people in other places.
And what are the greatest lessons you've taken away from your travels with PIBV?
I think the greatest lesson I learned personally is that a lot of nonprofits abroad still has that need for business skills, and still they can greatly improve on what they're doing. And if you can help out by just spending a month in a nonprofit abroad, or teaching them a little bit about what you learn in class, you can greatly help them improve their operations and make them better at helping other people, even if you're not there for the whole time.
Are you on the level of actually meeting some of the people that are being helped by these nonprofits? Do you actually get to see day to day the people that you're helping?
For my trip, to a certain extent, while we were there on the ground in Mexico, we got to meet some of the beneficiaries or some of the nonprofits that City of Joy was helping. For other projects that we have, our trip members would personally talk to the beneficiaries and ask them about, for example, like whether or not the service that the NGO is providing was effective and how they can improve on that. Once we go back to school, it's been a challenge keeping up with them, but I guess through email, like recently I actually heard from my client, and she said that they were going through their yearly planning right now, and they found and they're using the report that we made for them this past summer. So I found that very encouraging and just like a boost to say that we're actually giving them some value, even if we're, just college students.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about your future. You're an operations and marketing major with a second concentration in social impact and responsibility. How do you see those skills coming together to shape your future? What would you like to do for your career?
So the marketing and operations management concentration focuses on new product development and just basically designing, I guess, business products and services to sell. And I think I was very interested in that because I like, I guess, short-term projects where I can see the result and I can see something grow. And I guess just connecting that with my interest in social impact and responsibility, I think I'd want to see where business can help make markets, I guess, more efficient, more fair, and more just to a certain extent. So what areas of the market can we introduce certain products that will actually help the people who are buying these products, not only the company.
So do you feel like your PIB V work is really good training for that?
Yeah, I think so. The PIB V work that I've had at Wharton definitely gave me a good experience abroad and also a good experience in school by linking my academic interests with extracurriculars. Also, we would get professors at Penn to speak about certain issues in nonprofit management and international development. And apart from PIBV, there are other clubs that I'm also, I guess, involved in at Penn, which give me very concrete opportunities to use my business skills in the nonprofit sector. So.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today, Evan.
Thank you, Diane.